Hi, folks, and welcome back. I'm just waiting to see everyone gets back from their breakout rooms, and I'll toss it to David.
David, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. So good to see everybody. Wow, what a great group. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I want to start off by thanking our incredible sponsors, Texas Mutual, thank you, Velocity Credit Union, and Superior Health Plan. Thanks for making this possible. As you all know, we're going to highlight HEB and what a great community partner HEB is. And I know that everybody, we were just talking in our breakout room about what's our favorite HEB, what's our favorite HEB product, and there's so many great reasons to love HEB. But I think all of us can remember that in that worst storm in our country's history, Harvey, Houston, I think one of our main images of that are all those 18-wheelers, those HEB 18-wheelers headed into the devastation with food and also with hope. So there's so many reasons to thank them for all they do for the community. They're the biggest employer in the region. And then now here in this worst pandemic of our lives, they're yet again stepping up to take care of us. In the Austin Business Journal recently, they reported that HEB had 1,300 tractor trailers on the road to restock shelves in our community. They're always going above and beyond to take care of us. As you all know, we have a more than 20-year partnership between HEB and United. And they are our biggest campaign, with last year alone raising over $1.5 million for the 3-region county. So just incredible. I know we've got some of the campaign coordinators. David Spencer, I see you. I know there's several people on here. I think Brent Johnson is on here, one of our loan execs, but it's so good to have everybody on. And I know that Jennifer or Erica will let me know if there are more people on here. But one piece of really great news that we're really excited about is that Kathy Harm, who recently took over Jeff Thomas's role, is joining our board. So we're celebrating that and are just really, really pleased. And then in the craziness of, and all the ways that HEB is taking care of the community, Leslie Sweet was not able to join us this morning, but we're really, really happy to have Felicia Pena join us and share with us just how much HEB is investing in the community right now to help us all out. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It's just so good to see everybody, and look forward to hearing from Felicia and everybody. So Jordan, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sweet, thanks, David. So I'm the volunteer manager at United Way for Greater Austin, and it's definitely been a big transition to virtual, but it's also just really good to be with you here today in this space. Volunteering looks different now, but it's really good to see this many people here. So thank you for taking the time out of your days to be with us today. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. First off, I think everyone's doing this already, but just if you're not speaking, if you could stay muted, that way we can hear Felicia and Jeremiah as best as possible. And now on to kind of the volunteering part of the event. So as we're listening to kind of the program going along, we're asking that we work on volunteer projects in the background. So we'll be making thank you cards for our local HEB partners. They've been on the front lines the past few months, as we all know. So we wanted to take some time to show them some gratitude for all they've been doing, and like just staying open and masking and all of that. So as we're kind of getting started and organizing all that, we wanted to give you just a few minutes to get all your things that you need set up. So if you're thinking that you want to write a handwritten card, then we'll give you about 2 minutes to go grab some markers and pencils and maybe some construction paper. So you have it at your desk or in front of your computer. And then if you're thinking you're going to do a digital card, then you can pull up Canva or pull up Google Slides or something like that. We're just going to give you a few minutes to get your crafting supplies or your creative supplies all ready. So I'm going to play some music real quick for about 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll get started. All right, folks, that's about 2 minutes. So let's see. I didn't see any Jeremiah dancing, but that would have been fun. Without further ado, I have the great pleasure of introducing to you Jeremiah, our lovely host for the morning, not the evening, for the morning. Jeremiah Bentley is the Vice President of Marketing and Community Affairs at Texas Mutual Insurance Company. He manages the company's advertising, social media, PR, and all of their community work. So he's also on our United Way for Greater Austin board, and he is the chair of our Emerging Leaders Donor Network. So we're really excited to have him here today. And with that, I will pass the mic on over. Thanks, Jeremiah.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Jordan. I'm glad that David hit the so-and-so you were on mute bingo card for today, which I feel like no Zoom meeting is an actual Zoom meeting until we get to that stage with everyone. I'm very happy to be joined by Felicia Pena, who's the Public Affairs Manager at HEB, who's actually who you're all here to listen to today. So Felicia's role in the Central Texas region includes media relations, sponsorship fulfillment, and charitable efforts on behalf of HEB. Felicia graduated from the University of Texas at Austin, which is always a good answer, with a Bachelor of Science in Communication Studies and Arts and Sociology. After graduation, she worked as a campaign associate at United Way for Greater Austin, which is something I learned today. And then also went to the Central Texas Food Bank before moving to HEB. Currently, she serves as the Secretary of YWCA for Greater Austin, is a member at large of the Shoal Creek Conservancy, and she's done a lot of other stuff and won a lot of other awards. So let's talk about that. Felicia said I could pick my favorite parts out, but yeah, thank you for joining us, Felicia.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Jeremiah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, nothing but the best for you. I'll give you the chance to talk about yourself a little bit. So share a little bit about your story and then how you got started at HEB.
Sure. So after graduating at UT, I knew I wanted to go into nonprofit work and keep up with philanthropy here in Austin. And so thankfully found a full-time temporary gig at United Way, being a campaign associate. And through that, was able to connect with so many different charities while we set up these campaign fairs at different state agencies. And luck would have it, met someone from the food bank who talked about an opening in January, a month after my term would end. Ended up at the food bank, which I completely fell in love with. Food is something that everyone should have access to, and was able to do an events fundraising role there for about 5.5 years. Through that, of course, met HEB, who is one of the largest funders to the food bank, and built a really strong relationship with them through corporate fundraising and events, and was able to make the transition over to HEB 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in July. So it's been a whirlwind, but it's been so much fun.
Yeah, and never a dull moment, I can only imagine. You've picked an exciting 2 years to be involved.
This is true.
So we're creating cards today for the HEB partners, and I mean it's a special group of people. So can you share a little bit about sort of what makes them special? What's the secret, at HEB for getting people who are so committed to the community and service?
Yeah, our HEB partners, which we call our employees, are just so special. They have a lot of pride, and there's this culture of community and commitment to our neighbors, to Texans. And it's really special to see how great they show up to work, ready to work, how they're ready to adjust and be flexible. During the pandemic, we had to adjust rather quickly. And so we had a lot of partners who were doing cross-departmental work. They were learning something new right away, and they came to work ready to take on a challenge. And it's just so amazing to get to work alongside them. Some of them who've been with the company for 30 plus years, and learn their stories about why they're so committed to HEB. And we really appreciate how they come to work every single day, ready to work. And so thank you all today for taking the time to write them a nice thank you note, letting them know that you're thinking of them. We really do appreciate it. And next time you're in store, don't hesitate to say thank you or ask them about their days, because they're just the greatest people.
Yeah, I see you've got your tag on as always.
Yes.
So is that the 2-year tag?
Not yet. I get it next month, but don't worry.
Okay.
There'll be like a ceremony where I get to put my sticker on there. It's a big deal. It's going to be great.
That's cool. Yeah, I noticed all those at my neighborhood HEB, and like you said, I mean, some of them are 12, 15, 18 years, a long time, which I think says a lot about the culture and about your employees. So I think a lot of us probably, especially those of us that are sort of in planning with other organizations, saw this Texas Monthly article about how y'all were so prepared for the pandemic, and how you just prepare for disasters as a company. So can you tell us a little bit about that and talk about your emergency operations center in San Antonio and what all that's like? Because I think, we were all blown away by your response, speaking on behalf of a lot of the business community and a lot of the folks around Austin and Texas.
Sure. So a lot of people don't realize that we do have an emergency operations center in San Antonio, which is a year-round operation. So they are tracking anything and everything from hurricanes, tropical storms, pandemics, tornadoes. And they actually started tracking the virus back in January, and then did a tabletop exercise around pandemics in February. So they had a lot of really great research going into it, and they were taking lessons from our vendors that are all over the world. So we have items and products in stores that are from Italy and Spain and China. And so we do have suppliers and vendors in these different countries where the pandemic was growing at a rapid pace before it got to the United States. And so they were tracking this really early on, taking lessons from different grocers and retailers across the world as to how they reacted when the pandemic hit their communities. And we're able to bring that back to Texas and hopefully get us prepared. So we try to be one step ahead of everyone. We've had those 6-foot distance markers on the floors for a while now. We had those shields installed to protect our customers and our partners at the cash registers. So we really do try to be ahead of it, and we prepare for as much as we can. There are some things that we can't prepare for, like toilet paper, but we do our best to make sure that we're learning lessons from our different retailers across the world and practicing what's best for our customers.
So have you been to the center in San Antonio? What does it look like? Like, is it like something from a movie, or is it like less dramatic than that?
I have not been able to go there. Unfortunately, it's on my it's still my list of to-dos when I first started HEB, which takes about 5 years to complete, in my opinion, because there's so many different parts of our company. But it's just an amazing area to be able to have all those different experts on emergency preparedness and disaster relief in one space, communicating with each other. And it's almost like in like a White House where you have like preparation room. I don't know what it's called, but everyone's in that room making really big decisions. That's what HEB has. We have an EOC where people who have this information are working with elected officials, who are working with FEMA and other groups, being able to make these really great decisions for our customers to ensure that we're there on the front lines, ready to go when disaster happens.
That's super interesting. And so you talked a little bit about the global supply chain. Like in normal times, what does it look like? I don't think we necessarily think about our neighborhood HEB is like sourcing stuff from Italy and Europe and all around the world, like you talked about.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because people don't realize it, but one of my favorite commercials that has been on recently is our sustainable fishing commercial. And so it talks about how we go into different areas and we work on sustainable fishing. And you'll see like your fishing department at my HEB, but I believe it's in Alaska. So we're kind of all over the world when it comes to how we source our products. Normally, we're getting Italian sodas from Italy. We're getting all kinds of really great pastas and sauces and really great cheeses and things from all over the world. And so normally we are working with suppliers and being able to source globally. But when a disaster happens and our suppliers are now having to adjust and they're having to scale back their productions, we take lessons from them to ensure that we're also following best practices.
That's great. And so did you have to shift some of that, or was it just like did the availability drop, or did you have to go like source new items like in the middle of all this going on? Like how did that work?
Yeah, and you probably noticed it shopping too. We did have some availability that was lower. Like for instance, one that I didn't expect was aluminum. So you didn't see a lot of our sparkling waters on the shelves like you would because there was an aluminum shortage. So depending on the product, we just did our best to support the retailers because we want to continue to support them even if they're halfway across the world and work with them through this time. And sometimes you saw limited product. Sometimes you got a toilet paper brand that you've never heard of. But we were working hard to make sure that you at least were able to get the basics, even if it was a brand that you don't normally use, to be able to get through the next few months.
You guys did an amazing job. So we'll talk now about the community a little bit, which I think is sort of where your background is. So, obviously you're very committed to helping the communities, and you, during this, launched the Texans Helping Texans campaign, that among other things is helping seniors get their groceries delivered to their doors and really partnering with local restaurants too, to keep local restaurants open, and giving them an outlet for their product that they wouldn't necessarily have. So can you share more about your community commitment in that program specifically, and then just generally how that affects your culture as an organization?
Yeah, so Helping Texans was our way of getting our neighbors and our communities just working together and supporting each other. It was sharing your favorite recipe that you're working on with your kids at home for dinner, or some really great chalk art of our partners. So it was just a way to really connect people on social media while they were staying home and provide them with some hope and some inspiration while they're quarantining. But on the other side, we did work really hard to support that effort within our stores. So we had our restaurant partnerships. We were able to get Ramen Tatsuya, Fresas, and Picnic regionally, but statewide we had all kinds of restaurant partnerships where we had these restaurants put dishes into our stores. The chilled ramen was probably my favorite one from Ramen Tatsuya. I probably get one at least once a week. But it was really great to be able to support them. We actually, a couple weeks ago, hit $1 million in sales for those retailers over the statewide program. So that was huge to be able to support these small businesses locally and have them in our stores and allow customers to pick up those meals when they're shopping. But we also did a lot of really great partnerships with our communities. Locally, we were able to partner with Capital Metro and the Central Texas Food Bank. And while the food bank was building out their emergency disaster boxes, which was like a shelf-stable box, about 30 pounds of food, we partnered with Capital Metro to get those items delivered to their Metro Access customers. We noticed that the Metro Access customers normally take that program to shop at HEBs, but that just wasn't safe for them right now. And some of them have immunocompromised immune systems, or they're in a wheelchair and it's harder for them to get around. So that was a great partnership that we were able to build, and it's still continuing into the summer. And so things like that, where we saw a need and we're able to be smart and use our fundraising and our relationships to be able to build sustainable partnerships and not just write a check, but make sure that our money and our time is really going towards an effort that will make an impact for months to come, because we're not sure how long we're going to be in this, but we want to make sure that we're there for our neighbors no matter what.
Yeah, I think you really hit on something that's really important for just modern philanthropy in general, and that is people have gotten past this era of just sort of writing a check and walking away, but really looking to make deep and meaningful partnerships and across the board, both in terms of, like you said, in terms of money and in terms of resources. And I think the community's all better for it. So can you talk a little bit about your strategic philanthropy and sort of how you all decide what causes you're going to support and what's important to you?
Sure. So HEB is super excited about always providing ways for people to access education. So education is a really big part of our philanthropy. And so we work hard with different educational organizations across the state to ensure that kids are getting quality education, that teachers are getting the resources and the trainings that they need to be good educators. That's a really big one for us. And during times of disaster especially, we really focus on food access. So we support food banks across the state in every different region. We're able to really work with our food banks even when it comes to product in stores. Sometimes when we have extra product that doesn't sell or that's near expiration, we're able to donate that to food banks. We donated millions of pounds of food that would otherwise go into a landfill directly to food banks who turn around and get it to a client within days. And so that's a really great way for us to, again, be sustainable and find creative ways to get people the food that they need. And those are our two big ones. We also focus on environmentalism and sustainability, diversity, and the arts. But education and food access were the big ones that we focused on during the pandemic. And then we really encourage our partners to get involved as well. So obviously we're huge with United Way. Our partners love fundraising for United Way, and they've put lots of hours in fundraising and volunteering. But we also have a Spirit Corps and a Diversity Council. And these are groups that are made up of partners from our stores who have raised their hand and want to take an extra step and be able to lead community events, lead volunteer projects, talk about different nonprofits that they're passionate about that they want to share more information on. And so those groups are really the backbone to ensuring that our partners have the opportunities to volunteer. And they're really hurting right now. You know, our partners are in the community and love getting out there and getting their hands dirty. And it's been difficult. So we're working to get them some information on digital volunteer opportunities. If y'all know of any, please let me know, whether it's, you know, mentoring a kid over Zoom or building boxes that are going to go out for summer camp. Thank you notes like this are super helpful as well. So they're itching to volunteer, and we're excited to be able to get back doing volunteer projects soon, hopefully. But yeah, we've just got a really great culture of philanthropy, and our partners are really the backbone of what makes that work.
Yeah, I think I kind of know the answer to this, but I mean, assuming y'all really have to push people to volunteer, right? You just, I mean, how does that come about? You know, is that just part of your hiring process that you find those people, or, you know, do you have to encourage them?
It's hard, right? Because we say there's 5 spots and 10 people will show up. And so we don't have a problem recruiting volunteers. If anything, we have to create more opportunities so that everyone gets a chance and we stay safe and it's rewarding. But I think just knowing, you know, personally working at an HEB, you're immediately engulfed in our community and our commitment to culture and our commitment to being a good neighbor. And so to go outside and plant trees or give away trees or work with kids in schools, it's just adding on to that. And there have been many days where I've been exhausted and tired and it's been a long day, and I just leave and I have this inherent need to help someone, whether it's, you know, letting someone in when I'm turning on the street, or it's waving or saying thank you, whatever that little thing is, picking up a piece of trash in the parking lot. You know, you see our leaders really practice this behavior in stores, and our leaders lead that culture, right? They're outstanding. They lead this culture of caring about your community, caring about people, because HEB is a people business, not a grocery store. We're focused on people and just happen to sell groceries. But we really just instill that in everything that we do. So even after the hardest day, even after the longest work day, you still have that inherent desire to want to give back. And I think that our partners, whenever they have the opportunity to get out of the store and go to a school, go plant some trees, go work out in a garden, they're really excited to do that.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's good to know that there's like something bigger than you that you can contribute to. So you talked about United Way campaign, and selfishly as a United Way board member, we really appreciate that. It's by far the biggest campaign that United Way for Greater Austin has. Can you talk a little bit about your workplace giving campaign and how it works? Because I imagine it's a little different from we run a pretty big campaign too, but it's very much a traditional office setting kind of campaign, and y'all have to get creative. Can you talk about how that works?
We do. We get creative, and we have our in-store coordinator. So we've got people within our stores who are leading the campaigns, getting the partners within that store excited about giving back. It's been a 20+ year partnership. So we've been doing this for a while. We've got some best practices. We've got people who have been coming back for years leading these efforts. And so it's great to be able to connect with United Way. You know, this is an organization that so many of our partners can relate with. 211 is huge and such a great resource for our community. Success by Six is a huge program that obviously resonates with so many of us because education is such a big part of our philanthropy. So it's really easy to get behind, and our partners really enjoy the opportunity to learn their skills or hone their skills in fundraising and coming together. And, it's great to see how great they work together. We have some campaign coordinators, so David Spencer, thanks for being on this call, who are really leading the way, making sure that our in-store coordinators feel supported and have the resources that they need. And, it's one of United Way's largest campaigns. We have 10 plus partners who get excited about this and are engaged. So it's really special to us. This is one of the only largest fundraisers that HEB does get behind when it comes to having every single partner get involved. And so we just appreciate the opportunity that United Way allows us to get creative and grow this within our departments.
So what is an in-store meeting? I've had the chance to speak at a couple of them. Like, what does an in-store meeting look like?
We do our best to get as many partners in there as possible, but otherwise we find other ways to distribute the information. But, I've been at one of the meetings where it was all of the coordinators for the stores that were there, and that was fun too, because then you get to kind of build this trust with them, give them all these resources to go out and succeed. And it really is what they make it. Our stores are so creative throughout the year, right? I've seen the most outstanding Super Bowl of caring displays that have field goal setups and footballs everywhere. And they just get so excited to be able to get a little creative and then fundraise for a good cause. So it really is just getting as many people as possible in a room together. And when we can, right? Obviously we can't right now, but when we can, we get as many people in a room together and really just get them excited, share more about what United Way's mission is, why it's so important to talk about United Way's work and the role that they play in our community, and then go out there and succeed and hopefully raise a bunch of money.
Y'all are doing a very good job of that, and we all appreciate it, on behalf of United Way and the community as a whole. Can you give us, okay, so I can't even count now, 3-ish months into this, like who knows anymore at this point? Give us one big thing you've learned over the last few months.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing that I think we've learned is really how valuable teamwork is. The core of HEB is everyone working as a team together, trusting everyone's strengths, knowing our weaknesses, being able to really learn together. And so I think that was the biggest thing, was just being able to work together, learning that you have to be transparent with your leaders and with your partners, learning that you have to be flexible. We didn't have a lot of time, so our meetings now needed to be 10 minutes or less. We needed to hit the high points and make sure everyone felt safe and prepared and ready to move. So I think just the value of having a great team and trusting the other departments, trusting your leaders, and being able to go out and really make things happen.
All right, and then, what's next? Are there lessons you're going to take out of this that you apply going forward that change the way you work?
Yeah, so we'll continue to be a good neighbor. Obviously, we want to be there for our communities, and we just ask that everyone do the same. Things are changing so rapidly, so unexpectedly, so we're doing our best to stay ahead of it. One thing is we're really asking everyone to be a good neighbor and wear a mask to the store. We've been behind wearing masks to the store for a while now, and so it's just the easiest, best way to be a good friend and be a good neighbor and protect yourself, protect our partners, and protect the other customers when you're shopping in stores. And you can rely on us to continue to be Texans helping Texans. So we recently launched the Be the Change Fund, which was to address racial inequality and injustice in the Black community. And we'll be donating $1 million towards these efforts, but are also encouraging customers, if they'd like to make an additional donation, they can do that online and in stores as well.
Wow, that's incredible. I hadn't heard that. That's amazing. Thank you. So we're gonna go to Q&A. I've got a few questions that we got in advance that we'll ask you, and then I guess we'll see where we are time-wise. So, this is a good one. Which you kind of gave part of an answer to, but what's your favorite HEB product, and also what is getting you through lockdown?
There are so many. I've really gotten familiar with all of our products over this whole quarantine period, but my favorite is our HEB guac. I went from just buying the little one to now I buy the big size every single time I go to the store. I make avocado toast with it. I use it on everything. It's delicious. That and our chips that we bake in-house, we have different flavors that I didn't even know. we did. And so those chips and guac have probably been my guilty pleasure in getting me through quarantine.
Well, I love that. And mine is all the pre-made soups. Like every one of the HEB,
Yes,
like
those
pre-done
are great.
soups, they're all incredible. And so I'll have soup, chips, and guac maybe tomorrow for lunch to cover.
Are you
that.
like
But
me where we can eat soup when it's 100 degrees outside?
Yeah. Yeah, and some of it's kind of, like I've like sweating during some of it too, like some of the chili soup stuff, but it's fine. It's worth it. It's so good. You talked a little bit about mask policy. Is that the same across all stores, or is that dependent upon like local geography and rules? What does that look like?
We're following city ordinances. So if a county or a city does have an ordinance in place, we are following that and encouraging all of our customers to wear masks. And even if you're in a city or a county that doesn't have an ordinance, we're still strongly requesting that people who are visiting our stores do wear masks.
Okay. The next one. Oh yeah. How do you come up with your prepared foods recipes? Do you have like a team of chefs? I'm assuming it's not you experimenting in your kitchen.
It is not me. I don't think they'd want to have my prepared recipes on the shelves. Yeah, lots of basic stuff, lots of vegetable soups. But yeah, we have an actual culinary center in San Antonio where we have chefs who are trying out different recipes, and you'll see that we change out some of these recipes pretty often. So, if you like a certain product, we'll go back and make it better and then bring it back on shelves or try out a few different things. So yeah, we do have a culinary center, trained chefs who are good at this, who are creating these recipes back in San Antonio. And they go through months of testing. And if you're in San Antonio, sometimes you even get to be part of that test tasting crew. And then once they get the approval to go onto our shelves.
Oh, that would be a really cool, that'd be a thing I could volunteer to be a part of, I think.
Definitely.
It'd be pretty great. They do such good work. What do you do with all the food that you either can't sell or don't use? Which you may not have any of now, but yeah.
Right, and I touched on this earlier, but it's important to us not to just turn around and throw everything away. We want to be as sustainable as possible, so we work with local food banks within the different regions to be able to pick up any surplus. And it can be, vegetables and perishables, even frozen items, dairy, yogurts, things like that. If it's near expiration or it hasn't sold, we'll donate it to the food bank so that they can turn around and either get that out to clients or take care of that on their end. But yeah, we make sure to connect with our food access charities to ensure they have those resources.
That's good. Well, that's all I have submitted in advance. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? We'll put you on the spot in the chat. I mean, I told you on Twitter yesterday, like, what's wrong with people who shop anywhere else? You want to answer that one, or no, maybe not?
We would just, we appreciate you shopping at HEB because we've got a great variety of things, and we care about the community, so it doesn't get much better.
Yeah. Well, I think with that, we'll turn it back over to Jordan. Thank you very much, Felicia, for stepping in and for everything y'all do. Both as a longtime customer. Like I always tell people around the office, I just want us to be the HEB of insurance. And everybody knows what that means, right? So I really appreciate that, and how you continue to be a role model for the community and for business, throughout this time that we're going through. So thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you guys for giving us the opportunity. It really is awesome to see you all coming back and being able to thank our partners for what they're doing and showing up every day. And this nice little note of thanks is going to go a long way. It really will, just to know that someone else is thinking about the work that they're doing. So we appreciate United Way for all of the work they do in the community, but also for taking a moment to allow us to thank our partners. And we look forward to a really successful campaign this year, and we're going to make it happen for you all, and just appreciate everyone being here today.
Sweet. Thank you so much, both of you, Felicia and Jeremiah. That was great. I know it's hard virtually, but I want to give like a virtual round of applause for that. That was great. All right, so I know we're going to just kind of move into the finishing up the volunteer portion of this event. First thing I want to do is to see if folks do have written cards, if we could just take 1 minute and put your handwritten cards kind of up to the screen. This way after we'll be able to take a screenshot of the video and be able to kind of share that as well along with all of the actual cards. Awesome. And kind of as we're in here, it's fun to scroll through. I have 3 screens of cameras. Let's see all the different cards. We've got some artists in here. It's awesome. Sweet.
They're great.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a Google form into the chat box here, and this is where we'll have y'all submit your cards. So if you did create a handwritten card, you could just take a quick picture of it, and then you can upload it to this Google form right here. And then if you created a digital card, you'll just need to download it from Canva, and we're accepting, I think, PDFs and image files, so JPEGs or PNGs. And you can just use this form right here to upload your photo or your thank you card. And as we're doing that, I know I was going to do a really quick drawing. I was going to do 3 drawings for names for attendees, and we'll get you our nice blue Live United shirts. We'll get them mailed out to you. So I'm just going to do a quick draw of 3. So I have Kimberly Vellano, and I'm going to write this down. And I'll put my email here in the chat box, and we'll you can send me your size, and I'll send you just a little reminder. So it's Kimberly Vellano, and we have Susan Hovorka. And let me write that down. I see some folks doing claps. And we'll do Kathleen Clark. And again, I'll send y'all emails for my email address. Alrighty, and then, so again, we're gonna have you submit your cards electronically, and then I think maybe we'll sync up after and see if there's a way to have them mailed to maybe a regional office, or we'll talk with Felicia and the folks over at HEB to see if we can get cards mailed as well. And I will, in the thank you email, I'll have instructions on where to mail to as well. And with that, I think I'm going to hand the mic back over to David.
Jeremiah, I was able to unmute myself.
Way to go. Proud of you.
Great job. I just texted Jeremiah and said, watch out, Tiger King. Jeremiah is the next breakout TV star. But not before Felicia. Felicia, thank you so much. That was so great. It was so great to hear from you and just all the different kind of behind the scenes of how HEB takes such good care of us. Yeah, I see a lot of applause happening. Thank you so much. And thanks again to our sponsors. Thanks. I'm looking at these screens. I'm like, there's so many just beautiful community leaders, strong community leaders here with us. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. It's just so great to appreciate a company who realizes that doing good is good, and it's just such a stalwart in the community. So thanks again, everybody. I'll say this, I saw a lot of chats about how good the guacamole is. I'm in California right now. I brought HEB guacamole here with me in a cooler because I can't live without it. So I'm gonna go eat some of that right now. And again, thank you so much for joining us. It was really great to see everybody. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks, y'all.